CSCLeaders 2014, I really can't recommend it enough. At the end of the day, it was fantastic to be with a group of leaders from around the Commonwealth. And what you realise is that in our souls, deep down, we're all the same. And the opportunities we got to talk to each other and learn about different cultures, but realise that the challenges we face are the same and that we can work together to solve those challenges was absolutely amazing.
In terms of Delhi, the experience of Delhi, what an extraordinary place, 70 million people, and I compare that to Australia where there's only 23 million people in the whole country. Going around and visiting places and looking at what people do, probably the most significant takeaway from all of that is that there's so much that individuals can do as leaders, and that's in terms of a huge system and huge issues. And if you look at where things are going in Australia, we really can learn from what happens here, where they don't have as many resources, and yet they have the capacity to innovate.
We've been exposed to 16 different companies. I went to 4 of those. And in each of those, we saw leaders who had vision in terms of where they were taking their company. There's a degree of reflection amongst the leaders that we met in which they try to grapple with the issues of the day in India. And they're looking forward in terms of how they can move their companies, but more importantly, the country and its citizens forward. So we saw both government as well as commercial institutions and NGOs. And in each of those, we saw clear leadership, clear vision coming through.
There is something inside each person, I believe, that is the same. And cultural intelligence is being able to understand the other person's language, whether it's the way that they go about doing things, to be able to understand that so that you can really tap into those things that you can have a bond with, whether you're on the other side of the world, whether you're of a different religion. There is a connection from human to human that is there. And the importance of cultural intelligence is to be able to stop, listen, understand, never think that you've got it. If you think you've got it, you've stopped well short. So it's a lifelong journey.
Today's dialogue with the participants was amazing. They stretched me to think about leadership, they stretched me to think about gender and some of the major issues that are going on in India right now when it comes to gender, both on the ground in the corporate sector, which I work with, but also across culturally. And a lot of great conversation around technology and the role that it plays in stimulating change and really scaling the change that could be potentially happening in India. It was a great morning.
So what I found really interesting about the discussions in the group that we had was the variety of how each of the different people had so much of diversity in the backgrounds and the roles that they play, and the questions kind of resonated in the same manner on the same frequency. So right from technology to toilets is what the scope of the discussion went to, and interestingly all of it was relevant in the context of both the group as well as in the scope and space of the work that we do.
I believe that learning does not happen inside rooms. It does not happen in classrooms. It doesn't happen in boardrooms, and it definitely does not happen in our conference rooms. To learn, you have to walk through the streets of places. You have to observe and see what is happening around you. And that's where true learning about a place, about its challenges, about the solutions that the people and communities have found truly come through. And what that does is not something that can be directly related to your next Monday morning's job, but what it does is it opens your thinking, your vistas, your eyes, ears, minds to, it just makes it throb. And that is where the learning comes from.